heartening fact with the young woman who is about to present to you, Natalie Herrera. Divorce isn't such a tragedy. Tragedy is being in an unhappy marriage, teaching your children the wrong thing about love. Nobody ever died of divorce, Jennifer Weiner. But in the real world, you can't divide a family perfectly down the middle. Mother on one side, father on the other, and the child perfectly between. It's like tearing a piece of paper in two. No matter how you try, the seams never fit exactly right again. It's what you couldn't see, those tiniest of pieces that were lost in the severing, and their absence kept everything from being complete. Sarah Desmond. Paying alimony is like feeding hay to a dead horse. Groucho Marx. There are countless articles, movies, books, novels, dramas on divorce, specifically what is divorce, how do I get divorced, how much do I need to pay to get divorced, what are the effects of divorce, what are the effects of divorce on children, what are the effects of divorce on adolescents, and what can I do to stop them from hurting? The answer to that is nothing. Hello, my name is Natalie Herrera, and this term I researched the effects of divorce on adolescents. The title of my senior oral defense is The Psychology of Splitting Up, Divorce and Its Aftermath. Divorce is a variety of psychological effects on adolescents. As a result, the 5 critical elements of psychology are affected. Children of divorce have a hard time developing positive emotions, being engaged, feeling accomplished, establishing positive relationships, and finding meaning. This then leads to another list of consequences such as anxiety, anger, and depression. Psychologists have begun looking into how the arts can help children of divorce heal emotionally, increase in empathy, develop a capacity for self-reflection, and alter behaviors and thinking patterns. Art therapies such as music engagement therapy and visual arts therapy focus not only on the sickness and symptoms, but the holistic nature of the portion, therefore helping young people get over the trauma of divorce. Sarah Hoft published an article titled "Most Children Adjust to the Effects of Divorce." She went on to explain how 70 to 75% of children develop into well-adjusted adults with no lasting behavioral problems. This is great news. That means that most people are resilient to divorce and they can move on with their lives. So what if there's 20 to 25% of people that don't? That's a really small percent of people. So why should I care? Why should you care? As I mentioned previously, adolescents who go through divorce often face depression, anxiety, and anger. What one needs to understand that these are purely umbrella terms. You can't just define depression as feeling sad. The American Psychiatric Association defines depression as a common and serious medical illness that negatively affects how you feel, the way you think, and how you act. Depression has a variety of symptoms. Losing interest or pleasure in activities that you once caused you joy, losing appetite, sleeping too little, sleeping too much, increasing fatigue, restlessness, hand-wringing, pacing, slow movements, slow speech, trouble concentrating, trouble thinking, trouble making decisions, thoughts of death or suicide. 2 out of 3 people who have depression suffer from memory pains and aches. The reason for this is because when someone is depressed, their neurotransmitters work abnormally, causing alterations in their pain threshold. Depression weakens the immune system, thus leaving the body at high risk of infections, and it's been linked to coexist with things such as heart attack alongside other coronary artery diseases, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, lupus, stroke, cancer, diabetes, kidney disease, and arthritis. A type of depression often linked with divorce is clinical depression, which in comparison to normal depression is just that it goes on for a longer time, therefore worsening the effects. Depression can potentially affect adolescents permanently due to the effect on the brain. According to an article on Healthline, There are three parts of the brain that play a large part in depressive disorder: the hippocampus, the amygdala, and the prefrontal cortex. The hippocampus is in charge of producing cortisol and memory storage. When someone is depressed, you produce a lot of cortisol in order to have in the hopes of providing emotional stability. Due to this, neuron production is slowed down and the hippocampus shrinks, causing potential memory loss. The prefrontal cortex is affected by the increasing cortisol levels as well, which causes decision-making and memory formation impairment. The amygdala is in charge of emotional responses, and due to the increasing cortisol, it's large, causing hormonal imbalances. Anxiety isn't any better. When you feel anxiety, you feel nervousness, irritability, restlessness, trouble sleeping, fatigue, lack of appetite, trouble concentrating, and when you have moments of extreme anxiety, you have a sense of danger, doom, trembling, dizziness, shortness of breath, excessive perspiration, feeling cold or overheated, numbness, tingling of the hands, rapid heartbeat, palpitations, chest pains, hyperventilation. And according to the same article, anxiety can trigger a fight or flight response. Essentially, what happens here is that chemicals flood the body, such as adrenaline. Now, this can be good for a short amount of time. It helps you breathe, it makes you make healthy decisions. But here's the thing, people who have anxiety for large periods of time never get the signal to go back to normal. Therefore, it has the opposite effect, and the immune system weakens, leaving them vulnerable to diseases. Adding on, according to Harvard Medical School, there may be a connection between anxiety disorders and the development of irritable bowel system. Irritable bowel system leads to vomiting, diarrhea, and constipation. Anxiety also increases the possibility of getting diabetes, having high blood pressure, and developing heart diseases. And if the individual already had a heart disease, anxiety may higher the possibility of congestive heart failure. And if the adolescent develops social anxiety as a result of divorce, there's not a list of serious symptoms that follow it. Fear of leaving the house, social withdrawal, extreme and unwarranted fear of particular situations and things, compulsive or repetitive behaviors, changing personality, trouble in school, trouble with family, trouble with relationships, alcohol or drug abuse, and suicidal thoughts. Now comes anger. Anger, like anxiety, triggers a fight or flight response. When you're in this stage, there's certain parts of your body that don't function, such as digestion, assimilation, self-production, body maintenance, circulation that is not involved in the process, healing, and immunological defenses. Adding on, there is no access to the prefrontal cortex, which means that the individual has little to no emotional regulation. And people who have constant outbursts of anger suffer from headaches, abdominal pain, insomnia, increase in anxiety, depression, high blood pressure, skin problems such as acne or eczema, heart attack, and stroke. And according to Down and Collins, in order to deal with anger, one must eliminate stress. But here's the problem, such as depression and anxiety, anger is a vicious cycle. It affects you psychologically, which then weakens you physically, which then again weakens your psychological state, and it goes on. Meaning that the only way to truly stop it is to seek professional help. Now I ask you again, only if it's 20 to 25% of people that are affected by divorce, do you care? Currently, the way that we deal with divorce is through conventional therapy. Now, conventional therapy is already a type of therapy that's usually used for cancer patients. And that's not the one that I'm talking about. When I say conventional therapy, I mean the one that we use generally and that is most socially acceptable. But just because something is used more doesn't mean that it's better. For instance, psychoanalysis. The pros of psychoanalysis is that you have a highly trained therapist and it's very thorough. But the cons is it often takes years and involves several weekly visits. Insight-oriented therapy. Pros of insight-oriented therapy is it's less expensive, more give and take in early stages, and it's highly individualized. The cons being it requires regular visits for several months, and you must be willing to get in touch with your inner thoughts to make the most of it, which makes some people uncomfortable. Eclectic therapy. Pros that's highly individualized, good balance of listening and advice giving. The cons being that the therapy type and therapist training are very variable. Sometimes only partial use of specific models give you only partial results. Given this, what I suggest is people start treating adolescents of divorce with art therapy. I'm going to start with music therapy. While music therapy has long been recognized as an effective form of therapy to provide an outlet for emotions, the notion of using song, sound frequencies, and rhythms to treat physical ailments is relatively a new domain. In a meta-analysis of 400 students, it found that music improves the body's immune system functions and reduces stress. Listening to music was also found to be more effective than prescribing drugs in reducing anxiety. Several researchers are exploring whether sound vibrations absorbed through the body can help ease the symptoms of depression. This is a specific therapy called vibroacoustic therapy. Now, the statistics on music therapy are very promising because it is a fairly recent field. More research needs to be done before implementing this treatment. Visual arts therapy. According to Kathy Malchiori, art psychotherapy embraces the idea that art is a means of symbolic communication and expresses personality, emotions, and other aspects of human experience. In essence, art expressions are used to enhance verbal exchanges between the therapist and the client in this approach. Elizabeth Scott, a certified family therapist and a diplomat of the American Institute of Stress States, activities like painting, sculpting, drawing, photography are often relaxing and rewarding hobbies that can lower your stress levels and leave you feeling mentally clear and calm. Art increases brain connectivity and plasticity. Your brain's ability to grow connections and change throughout your lifetime is called brain plasticity or neuroplasticity. Creating art stimulates communication between various parts of the brain. Art therapy is clearly demonstrating that it successfully addresses many somatically based conditions, including trauma reactions, post-traumatic stresses, and depression, as well as many neurological and cognitive disorders. Divorce is an array of psychological effects on adolescents. As a result, they are affected both psychologically and physically. Through the use of music engagement therapy and visual arts therapy instead of conventional therapy, adolescents can recover from various negative emotions and physical hindrances faster and in a method that is more comfortable and familiar to them. Art therapy is a personalized experience that will help young people get over the trauma of divorce. Thank you. Mr. Chapman.
You said like the three, I don't know if I want to say effects, but three things that can happen with divorce that are really bad. You said anger, anxiety, and depression.
Yes.
Did you find any, like there's typically two sides to every coin. Well, there's always two sides to every coin, but did you find any good outcomes? Like children are adaptable or like something to that effect?
Well, basically what I got in my research is that, for example, 70 to 75% of people, they go through that, but they're resilient at the end. And people who are happy with it are usually because they're in an abusive relationship or they're witnessing something that's not necessarily the best. That's when they get divorced. They're happy. Second.
At the start of the presentation, you mentioned that what parents, like many people search what parents could do to help their children like make it easier on them with divorce. And you said nothing, so I understand. Do you really think that there is no role that parents can play in order to make the anxiety, anger, and depression really easy?
My opinion on this is it's kind of like a social construct. Divorce has like this really heavy negative connotation. So unless like society magically changes, it's like, oh, you get divorced, it's fine. It's probably not. Like, for example, what I mean when I say that there's nothing you can do is that they're still gonna feel probably or other emotions such as anger, anxiety, and depression, but they will get over it. They'll just have to go through it. Mr.
Well, one of the things I'm wondering if you encountered in your research is parents, because I do think they do have some role in this, but parents can also go through many of these therapeutic modes prior and or during a divorce to help their children. And I'm wondering if you encountered any research on that role, like maybe that 70%, maybe some of those is because the parents, recognizing there was a rift in their relationship, thought help, and then worked through either to stay together or not, to choose to part, and then, okay, now what do we do? How do we approach divorce in a civil manner, and does that have a positive outcome on the children of divorce?
Could you make your question more concentrated?
Yeah, okay, and again, I'm going to follow up on the previous question, because I think there is something I think parents can do, and that's to go through therapeutic mode before, and can that have a positive effect on kids who are then going through divorce?
I mean, my opinion is that psychological treatment is necessary, whether it be prior or after.
Can be preventative. Even if you decide to get it.
Well, that also depends on the child, and I know that's like very broad, but obviously some people are more sensitive than others. It's just,
Okay, so we talked a bit in the class about triggering subject and true subject. Do you remember that conversation? Okay, we didn't talk very much about it. Okay. So the idea here is that you have the subject that you start off researching, and then through the process of research, you find your true subject.
yeah.
I wrote this as a comment on the draft I read, and I'm going to say it verbally. To me, the argument you present here has nothing to do with divorce. It's all about therapy and rules of therapy. Do you think that you discovered your true subject while you're writing? Maybe your true subject is about art therapy. Like I noticed when you started talking, the section of your presentation that's most detailed is the one on art therapy. Okay. So, and the divorce thing comes in, but it's tangential. You have it at the beginning and you have it at the end, and you mentioned it twice during the presentation. But I'm not so sure this is about divorce. Like, could the argument for therapy and different modes of therapy and learning more about therapy be applied to any trauma?
Yeah, absolutely. I chose divorce specifically with one. Okay, I chose divorce specifically because it's like a subject that's like personal to me.
It's your triggering subject.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to know the effects of it and like how to prevent the effects of it. And through that, I was like, oh, art therapy, because I like art, and then I started looking into that. So
I think your experience here is a really good way of understanding the idea of triggering subject and true subject, and I strongly want to recommend to you that before you turn in that final draft, you consider just turn off the like shit candy your thesis and making it about therapy and modes of therapy. Rewrite your thesis paragraph and your conclusion to match the paper that you actually written, which is quite a good paper on the range of therapeutic methods that exists. Consider it. Yeah. It's a radical move, but
yeah,
So you mentioned all the different
I
methods.
can't hear you.
You mentioned all the different methods like therapy that can help children go through divorce. Are you saying that they should be implemented as soon as like the symptoms that you mentioned, like anger, depression, should they be implemented as soon as those start to appear, or should they be implemented from the beginning?
No, I would say prior. You don't wait until something happens and then do something about it.
So like you're saying like start the parents should start taking the kids to therapy sessions.
Yeah.
even before they divorced, even before they let the kids know. Yeah, that's generally recommended.
Exactly.
If you're focused on adolescence, why do you reference children so much?
The reason for this view is because the brain doesn't become fully adult until the age of 24, and until that stage you're dealing with people who don't have the psychological hardness of an adult. So psychologists often kind of like mush age groups together because they have an undeveloped brain.
There's some semantic potential there too, right? Because like, even though I'm 42, I'm still the child of my
Yes.
parents. So when anything that happens to the family system, I still play the role of child within that context. I'm suddenly a child within the context of the family. So even, no matter how old you get,
Yeah.
if your parents divorce, if your 80-year-old parents divorce when you're 40, you're gonna be traumatized.
The point with this specific quote is saying that in prior to 24, your decision making isn't as best as it is when you're older. So I'm sure that even if you're older, there are some pretty reckless things that you can do. I'll leave that there.
Mr. Chap.
Daniel.
Do you think that going before pre-therapy and everything, do you think that parents should take in consideration how it might affect their children's psychological health before deciding or not to go on divorce?
You mean they should take into consideration the child before they get divorced?
Should they take into consideration the health effects of the divorce?
I feel like being in a relationship that both of you are uncomfortable with could probably make it even worse on the child. Because if you're growing up in like an unloving relationship and things may develop further from that.
Do you think most people stay too long?
Yes, honestly, yes.
I think that's true. From personal experience. Can you read your opening quote again? I think it's interesting. I don't know if you heard it, Daniel, but I think it's really interesting.
Divorce is not a tragedy. A tragedy is staying in an unhappy marriage, teaching your children the wrong thing about love. Nobody ever died of divorce.
And if you've seen Romeo and Juliet, you know the people die of love all the time. You got it?